Here we are in the nosebleed perspective. We're making our way through the AFC and our divisional breakdowns. We started with the AFC North, our last episode, and we're going to kind of go towards the East. We have the AFC East this week. We're pretty excited about them. We got a Jets fan in the house right there. There he is.
Let's go Jets!
Shaking his Sam Darnold jersey. So the AFC East this year, they kind of got a tough draw. They play the AFC West, obviously the Chiefs and whoever the shows up in that division, and then they get the NFC West, which is tough. So we're gonna go ahead and start things off with the Miami Dolphins. Gibby, what are your thoughts on the Dolphins this year?
Yeah, so for the Dolphins, they made probably the most moves this offseason, I'd say, out of any team in free agency, and somehow they still have $23 million in cap space. So that just shows you how much the ownership before just didn't give a damn. Their biggest addition to me is adding, Kyle Van Noy. That dude is a monster. He's a great leader, and, he's just going to be a great addition. They had a bunch of other pieces. I go through this whole list, but that would be the whole hour show. So we'll go ahead and get into it. I think this team could really be good in a couple of years, all right? This O-line is, vastly improved, but still has a little way to get there, and they're very young. So they're going to make some mistakes, This whole COVID team, it impacts every team. Let's not get that wrong. But the Dolphins a lot. They're so young. They're trying to build a culture there, and, if any kind of training camp gets cut short, this team is going to struggle. They had a lot at running back, but not a big running back guy. I think you can pretty much play anyone there except for the little white dude that they played last year. So they needed to make that move. I'm not huge on their wide receivers, so I think it's going to be hard for whoever plays quarterback this year to be successful. I'm a big, Brian Flores guy. I think he's the first guy in the Bill Belichick tree to actually do what Bill Belichick does. Every team, he's actually copying him, He's drafting on offense, getting veterans on defense. So Dolphins fans, it's just going to take a couple more years. His defense could be scary this year, but, it's going to take time. I have them at 6-10.
6 wins. That's a big
step
up.
That's a good jump for them.
Yeah, it's a good season. I feel like if you're a Dolphin fan, and last year you said they're going to win 6 games. It's Cheech. What do you think?
So I didn't have as high of hopes for them. I have them at 4-12. They're still, like you said, they are a team of the future. I do think that their wide receivers can be decent. Devontae Parker last year, he put up some good numbers towards the end of the season. He really started becoming a threat, maybe more so on fantasy than he did in the games. But he's not a bad wide receiver. Allen Hurns, I think he can prove himself too again. He was a decent wide receiver. He was on the Jags before, I believe. And he had good seasons, and then, or at least I know of at least one good season he had. So, I think that their wide receiver core could be decent, could give Tua, if he becomes a starter, some good outlets to toss to. I also like their tight end, Mike Gesicki. I think he's got some good hands. If he's just utilized I think he could be like a George Kittle type of tight end if he just gets that exposure. But I'm really curious to see if Tua is going to start out the season as the quarterback, or if Fitzmagic is going to be in the driver's seat to start the year, and then maybe give up the reins to Tua later on. We'll see. But, yeah, this isn't a bad team. I think that they've got good players in almost every position. It's just going to be a matter of player development and just this team learning to play with each other. And I think that in a couple of years, this could be a team to watch out for.
So you mentioned Tua. Do you have any thoughts on if you think he will start week 1, or what do you guys think about that? I personally believe Fitzpatrick comes in and he plays week 1, but I know there's been a lot of sources that have kind of been saying that Tua is the guy, and they're kind of all in on him. So what do you guys think about that real quick?
I think that Tua – sorry, go ahead.
I think it comes down to training camp time. So, it's COVID. We're not really sure if Tua is what he's supposed to be, and he comes in and he proves it in training camp. Yeah, he gets the starting job. So I wouldn't put any money on it, but if I had to bet on it, I would say Tua starts week 1.
I don't think Tua starts week 1. I think that he's going to need that time in the preseason to get used to just playing in the NFL, just that difference in the game. But I don't see Fitzmagic starting beyond week 4. I think that by week 4, Tua becomes the driver of this team.
Yeah, and they got a few tough games at the beginning of the season. They play New England, Buffalo, Jacksonville, which whatever. And then they play Seattle. 3 of their first 4 games are really tough. So it could, they could easily go 1-3 or 0-4, and they're going to be looking towards Tua if Fitzpatrick starts. So I just thought that was interesting. Yeah, this year I have the Dolphins going 5-11. They got a primetime game, which was interesting. I think it's a Thursday night football game though, so take it with a grain of salt. I think B-Flow and the boys are going to get better each year. So they made a lot of moves. Like Gibby kind of said, Kyle Van Noy was a big pickup, that veteran leadership, somebody who's in the building, who's won before. And also Byron Jones at cornerback is huge because it's going to take a lot of pressure off Xavier Howard on the other side, which is I think that secondary could be pretty good. So they're going to get better each year. Dolphins fans just have to be patient. I know it's hard because they've been bad for a minute now. And then Matt Breida and Jordan Howard are the tandem right there. They had they didn't have a running game last year. They were filtering through guys left and right. They had a guy who started and then ended up in jail. I forgot his name, but they had a lot of issues at that position, which puts a lot of pressure on your quarterback when you're somebody like Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's a journeyman and who's not known for maybe just carrying a team,
Yeah.
So, and you mentioned Cheech, Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki. Yeah, I think they came on strong, so they'll be okay. They're only going to get better, I think. So you can't get much worse from the past few years. So I believe in them. They're not going to make the playoffs, obviously. I think they win 5 games and get better each year. But it's a good system they have in place, like you mentioned, Gibby. So, all right. So now we'll go to the New England Patriots. The team obviously has been great for a long time. Everyone knows it who's paid any type of attention to football. A lot of Super Bowls, a lot of playoff appearances, a lot of wins in general with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. But Tom Brady's out of the building. And this year they don't have an easy draw, like we kind of mentioned. And they have 5 primetime games. They play Seahawks, Jets, Ravens, Rams, and Bills all in primetime. So, Cheech, what are your thoughts on the Patriots coming up this season?
So, I've got the Patriots as a 5-11 team, and I think that their offense is nobody. Edelman's getting old. I mean, N'Keal Harry, he's a decent wide receiver. He could be good. He probably will be good in a few years, but nobody knows anything about Jarrett Stidham. So I'm just going to assume that he's not ready. Their backfield, Sony Michel, all right. James White getting old. I gave them 5 wins because of respect for their secondary and respect for their defense in general. Because, I mean, last year their defense won them games. You guys talk shit to me about fantasy football because I had the Pats defense and they were getting me 20-plus points a week. So I have respect for the Pats defense in general, and that's why I'm giving them 5 wins. Otherwise, I don't see how this Patriots team could be built to win more than 5 football games this year. 5. And I know the Pats fans are just going to talk all the shit to me about this and just bring it on.
How many years have they had multiple double-digit wins? Great, I don't even know, but a lot. So that would be crazy to see the Pats with a potential top 10 pick in the draft.
Yeah,
they'd probably trade it, but yeah. So I have a kind of an opposite approach on this. I think they go 9-7 this year, and they get one of the last playoff spots, that wild card spot that you guys think the Browns could get. Look, I think they're going to start the season off pretty slow, but Bill Belichick's going to figure it out. They're going to win 10 games. I'm excited to see this guy they took, Kyle Duggar, in the 2nd round. Look, they took this guy they probably could have gotten him. He's at Alina Royan University, which is a Division II school. They probably could have got him in the 6th or 7th round. maybe. I mean, if you, I will say, Gibby showed me his highlights. Go check this guy out, Kyle Duggar. He's a monster. He's a good punt returner. He's a good like all-purpose safety, whatever, blah blah blah. But I'm excited to see what they do with him because it's like a Matthew Slater situation, the receiver over there. But we'll see. They signed Marquise Lee. They still have Julian Edelman. Stidham, I called him a bust, but I just feel like with that system, he's going to do enough to just will them to victory somehow. So James White, Sony Michel, they're still there. Good tandem backfield. I don't know. I cannot wrap my head around them winning less than 9 or 10 games, to be honest. I just can't. So that's just my take. I think we've all learned, like, we can't bet against the Patriots. Yeah. So as long as we've been alive. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I'm in deep water definitely by saying they're 5-11.
Yeah, that's a hot take. 5 wins.
Yeah, so as I said with the Dolphins, Kyle Van Noy is such a key person in the NFL, and losing them, and here's my hot take of the day, is a bigger loss than them losing Tom Brady. So to me, I think, that's a huge piece of that defense. They lose Jamie Collins. They lose D tackle, Shelton. Like that was their core right there, So that's always tough. But we do have to remember that this team did go 11-5 with Matt Castle. We saw what he did. He's not a good quarterback. All Bill needs is a quarterback that is able to dump the ball here, hit a couple slant routes, couple outs, which could be tough, but he just needs them to be smart. And like Cheech said, this is a very good secondary, like top 5 in the league, even with their age, like easily very good. And that's going to win them some games by themselves. It's going to be tough. And the thing about this year's Patriots is they're not going to give up anything to lose assets for next year. They're not all in this year like a lot of teams that are in their position. They have like $100 million in cap space next year, and they know that. And so, for me, it comes down to a lot of things, and I tried, and there's so many scenarios. But like you said, you can't bet against them. This is a 500 football team to me, 8-8. Their schedule, is pretty brutal. So we'll see how it ends out. I'm real excited to watch this team. I'll definitely keep a close eye on Stidham and everything. I'm rooting for Bill because I think Bill was the main piece to all the success. So 8-8, and we'll see if they sneak in the playoffs.
I think they are one of the most interesting teams in the league this year, though, really, because for so long we've seen Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and Tom Brady and Tom Brady. So I'm interested to see what this new guy who's never played so far. So just everybody should keep an eye on them because it'll be interesting to see what he can do. I mean, like you mentioned, Matt Castle, people thought he was the next, like they thought he was the next thing. And then he went to another team. He went to the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, he did. We paid him a shit ton of money, and Chiefs were really bad for a long time. Poor Jamal Charles, all he did was run his ass off and just catch L's his whole career because of that. So, I mean, but this is what the Patriots do. They develop a quarterback like Jacoby Brissett, and they ruin your team for the next 5 years, and then that's one less team that they got to worry about.
Wow,
so
it's great tactic.
It's just a great – we'll see. I'm excited to watch the Pats.
I am too. I really am. They're probably one of the teams that I'm going to be them. I'm interested in the Panthers, obviously the Bucks, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Marquise Lee was a good pickup though. Just somebody who can, I think he's a good quarterback good wide receiver. He hasn't had a good quarterback. So we'll see. All right. Now we'll kind of pivot towards the Buffalo Bills. So this team, they went to the playoffs last year. I don't know. I think this is going to be completely dependent on their quarterback play this year. Josh Allen, I think we all like him. We've been kind of vocal about that. But it's all going to depend on him, how they end the season, how they do in the playoffs if they get there. They have 3 primetime games. They play Kansas City on Thanksgiving, which I think will be a great game. The Steelers and the Patriots. So, Gibby, what do you got on the Buffalo Bills this year?
Yeah, so, they still have about $20 million left in cap space. Whether they use that or not, we'll see. Maybe they save it for the trade deadline. But they do add Josh Norman. We kind of talked about him earlier today. But, it's – and then, it's a first-round pick to be able to get Stephon Diggs. That's a that's a great draft pick. So this is a solid football team with not too many holes. Like you look through this team and you try to figure out like, hey, what could be wrong? Where could their issues be? And there's just not a lot. And I think they have one of the most underrated players in the NFL in quarterback Tre'Davious White. You know, for whatever reason, you know, maybe people just don't love corners or whatever, but he's damn good at what he does. And, you know, they have a good O-line and a really good D-line. And then in the draft, they're like, oh, Esbanesa from Iowa fell to us. Oh, yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll take him too. So, you know, Bills Mafia, get excited, baby. Like, you know, break some tables, do what you do at your tailgates, get this team pumped up. I like this team a lot, and I think they win the division for the first time since 1995, and they go 10-6.
So 10-6 wins this division, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the Bills train too. They, like I said, you mentioned Stephon Diggs for that first round. Totally worth it. He's a proven receiver. He's in a new situation. He's going to try this year. He's going to be there. And having him in addition with John Brown and Cole Beasley in the slot, like people, I think they're two underrated receivers in the league too. They've both been in, well, John Brown's been in maybe not the best situations. But he showed up last year. So did Cole Beasley. So it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for Stephon Diggs. And you talked about that secondary too. Tre'Davious White is a great cornerback, and alongside him and safety Micah Hyde, they're, you know,
Both are safeties.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. So they're gonna be good this year. I love that defensive line. Ed Oliver over there, that pick Espinoza, whatever his name is, fell right in their laps. I mean, as if their line needed to get better. So, you know, I have them going 11-5, and I think they win the division pretty much. I don't want to say with ease, but I just think it's their time. Bills Mafia is going to go crazy. I'm excited for you guys. Break some tables, break some records. I don't know. So, and they're just built for the playoffs too. As long as Josh Allen can be smart with the football, his decision making is key because they have the team around him. Devin Singletary is going to flourish this year, I think. You know, I think they're going to do good this year. As long as they can win the division, maybe get a home game in the playoffs, they're going to be okay. So no one wants to come up and play in Buffalo for the first game in the playoffs. No one wants to do that except for the dudes, you know, the old whites with their shirts off, slamming people through the table. So, yeah. Gee.
Yeah. I mean, so far, after the AFC North and now the AFC East, I've got the Bills as the best team in the AFC East. Obviously, we haven't done the next two, so I haven't broken those down. But the Bills will be 12-4 this season. Josh Allen is just going to flourish with another wide receiver that just gets – I mean, John Brown put up great numbers last year. He was such a sleeper wide receiver. Cole Beasley, just another dude that just he gets open. He just gets the ball. Like you said, Devin Singletary will probably have a good year this year. They got rid of Frank Gore, so Frank Gore is not going to be gouging plays away from Devin Singletary this year. I mean – top to bottom, defense to offense, this whole team is a solid football team. And I can't – it's difficult to, like, try and find a hole in this team. And Josh Allen is probably just one of those. If he, like you said, if he just makes good decisions with that football this season, he's going to be a great quarterback this year. So, yeah, 12-4 Buffalo Bills winning the AFC East.
Nice. I mean, Josh Allen, man, he just has so much potential. I think we've talked about it, but this dude, he can move. He's mobile. He can get the first down when he needs it. Great third down quarterback. He just has to be smart. So, I don't know.
He's a tough dude. He can take a hit and he'll just keep on. Yeah, he could be a great quarterback in the NFL. He just needs to just be that clutch quarterback when he's down a touchdown with 3 minutes left in the game.
Not hurdling the ball.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now we move to the New York Football Jets. I don't think that's a saying, right?
No, that's the Giants. Yeah.
I know, but I just whatever.
Yeah. We just spell it out.
Jets, Jets.
Boom.
All right, so here's a team that definitely I feel like overperformed last year with the circumstances that they had dealt with him. You know, Sam Darnold going out with mono, and Kevin Falk, I think was his name, and just came in and absolutely just didn't belong in the NFL. I mean, I don't mean to throw straight shade at players like that, but Jesus Christ, this dude sucked. But they still, they still won more games than they should have. I mean, let's be honest. So I've been high on Sam Darnold. I still think he's that guy in New York. I really do like him. I believe in him. And I want to say that they're going to be better than last year because I do believe in Sam Darnold. In another year in the league, he'll progress, which I think he will. But they do not have the favorable matchups that they did last year. So it's hard. I still, Cheech, I know you love the Jets, so I tried to boost my record as high as I possibly could. And I have them going 6-10, which,
worse than last year.
I think they could win 4 games. I think they could possibly win 7 or 8, but I'm gonna settle with 6 because, look, they upgraded their O-line. They brought in a guy, Connor McGovern, who's a center. He played for the Broncos for a couple of years. He's a young guy. Signed him to like a 3-year, $27 million deal. That was a big boost for them alongside Mekhi Becton, obviously. A big body. Hopefully this Mekhi Becton can be a presence in the NFL. We'll see. I mean, he's just a big-ass dude who really – he made Louisville quarterbacks look good when we had like 3 starting quarterbacks who all played last year. So we'll just see. Joe Flacco was a great pickup just to back up Sam Darnold and something happens to him. Sam Darnold's going to see a little less ghosts. Frank Gore comes in as a relief running back to Le'Veon Bell. It's a good veteran leadership in the locker room, obviously. But and just one more thing, C.J. Mosley, he missed pretty much the whole season last year. He played 2 games. C.J. Mosley is a great middle linebacker who really has his presence on the field. So I'm excited to see. Hopefully he can stay healthy. I want to like the Jets because I do like Sam Darnold, and I do think they overperform given their circumstances. Adam Gase, we'll see. They got to sign Jamal Adams, I think. So I just don't think they're there yet. They're not there yet, but they will win 6 games if that's a plus for Jets fans. I don't know. But, Gibby?
Yeah, so, this team has $14 million in cap space, and this was the hardest team for me to predict. It really was. Like as far as we've got, it's been the hardest because, the Jets last year, they started off 1-6 and finished 6, and their last, were 6-3. Like that's a damn good run over 9 games.
Yep.
And then when Sam Darnold was the starter, they were 7-4. Maybe he should stop making out with high school girls, but it happens. I mean, the Jets defense last year was ranked 7th in the league overall and number 2 against the run. Like teams were scared to run the ball against this team, but there's so many questions. What are we going to get out of Le'Veon Bell? Does he care? He's not a guy with Corona and everything that I feel like is going to give a damn. Is this team trying to win now or the future? To me is the biggest question. They have a lot of pieces in place, but whenever there's talks of your best, C.J. Mosley and Jamal Adams, but Jamal Adams, they're talking about getting rid of him like that. Oh. It's hard to say, like when them talks are going on, it's hard to be like, oh, this team is gonna. Like I do, but like when that happened, and then Adam Gase is just a stooge. But I did really like their draft. Getting Bryce Hall in the 5th round, cornerback out of Virginia. That's a really good pick, and their wide receiver Mims. I think he's going to be good. Like you said, Logs, I'm a big Sam Darnold believer too. The first part of his schedule is just so damn tough. I think weeks 3 through 6 is really going to determine their season. Colts, Broncos, Cardinals, Chargers, Bills. And then it comes the trade deadline, and that's when it's kind of like buckle up, are we going this year or next year? And I think that maybe that schedule is just a little bit too tough. They're better than what their record is going to show at 6-10 this year, but they're going to make moves for next year, and then, this division is going to be damn good in about 2 years.
So 6-10 for you too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Jets – I look at the Jets team, and if they stay healthy, I think that they can outperform what everybody expects from them. They got players like that are not proven players, but can hopefully step up in their roles. Like Jamison Crowder, he was an all right wide receiver when he was on the Redskins, and then came to the Jets, and he hasn't done much. But without Robbie Anderson, maybe he'll get more looks. Rashad Perryman, he stepped up after Mike Evans got injured last year and started making catches late in the season for Tampa Bay. So we'll see what he does. Our backfield is solid with Le'Veon Bell and Frank Gore, but I just don't trust that in Gaze. And then our defense, I mean, Quentin Williams, as long as those gun charges go away from him bringing that gun to the airport, if he doesn't catch a suspension or anything like that, I think our D-line's pretty decent with him and Steve McClendon. Our backfield, Jamal Adams, just please re-sign him. Jets, if you do anything this season, you could go 0-16 if you re-sign Jamal Adams. I'll be fine with it. Just because Jamal Adams is such an important piece in that backfield. Marcus May is a solid safety as well. We've got two good safeties. And then we took one in the draft as well with Ashton Davis.
I like him too. I think he could be good. I watched a little bit of his tape. Ashton Davis he could possibly be – he's very high boomer bust to me. So, sorry.
Yeah, no, he's a solid safety. And then, like you said, with Bryce Hall at the corner, he could be a really good corner too. And then our linebackers we got pretty good linebackers: C.J. Mosley, Blake Cashman, Jordan Jenkins. Like, this team overall isn't bad. I just don't think that the coaches are doing the job that they should be doing and making these guys good, like making these guys work together. But I've got the Jets going 8-8, and that was tough because I've got them starting the season 2-6. Yeah, because, like you said, I mean, that's the start of the season is tough. They've got the Bills, Niners, Colts, Broncos, Cardinals, Chargers, Bills, Chiefs. Like,
yeah.
And then after that, I think that they just turn it on. And I like that we play the Dolphins back-to-back weeks with the bye in between, because I think that'll, especially with a weekend patch team before that, I think that'll give them 3 good wins right in a row, and they'll look at the second half of the season and turn it on. But yeah, this team can be good, and this should be this is a very important developmental season for the Jets, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. And it would be just a shame for them to just suck, because those jerseys, like, so Cheech is wearing a Sam Darnold jersey right now, and those black jerseys are with the green little, they might be the best in the league. I mean,
these things are sick.
They're so nice, so it would just be a shame.
Doing terrible in nice jerseys. Yeah.
I hope the best for you. The Jets are just such a hard team. Like I said, they could win 4 games. They could win 8 games.
Yeah. But I mean, like last year, they lost to the Bills by 1 point in 1 game, and then they beat the Bills in the last game of the season. So, and that's arguably our best team to play against. Obviously, the Bills got better in the offseason, but the Jets were also very injured last season. So if they could put up that kind of effort against the Bills in those 2 games, then this division is not out of reach. Even though I said the Bills are 12-4 and the Jets are 8-8, I think that any team in this division, at least,
and it's always
been wide open.
Even with Tom Brady, when he was there for the past 20 years, I feel like any divisional games were always close in this division. Like the Dolphins always gave the Patriots a hard time. The Jets will give them a hard time. So who knows what'll happen? But I'm excited to see this division. I'm going to keep a close eye on it for sure. But
it's tough. It's almost like when I look at this division, I have a tough time deciding if this is the worst division in the NFL or if this is just a competitive division in the NFL. Because I don't know if this is worse than the NFC East or if this is just like a little better.
No, yeah, I mean, because on the outside you look, you're like Dolphins. Oh, they've been terrible, but no, they have actually a good. Better. Yeah, they've gotten better. You look at the Bills. I just feel like it's hard for maybe the average fan, even outside the nosebleed fans. They're probably like the Bills. They haven't won shit and fucking, So it's hard for them to accept that. And the Jets, no one's really talking about the Jets because they've kind of sucked, but they actually overperformed last year. So you never know what's going to happen. So. I'm excited for this one. So, you guys have any other thoughts on the AFC East?
Go Jets.
Hey, we're rooting
Like
for you,
it.
buddy. We're rooting for you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, this has been a nosebleed perspective on the AFC East. We'll be coming at you next with the AFC South. Pretty excited about that one too. So stay tuned. Subscribe to our channel if you're still listening. Appreciate that. Take care, y'all.